Right. Well, welcome everyone and happy Wednesday. Diane and I are so excited that you could make it on the call tonight. We're super excited to share with you this revolutionary phototherapy patch that has really transformed our lives. It's been a total game changer in the lives of so many others. Super simple, drug-free technology that is helping people feel better, heal faster, transform lives. So, just a little bit about me. I am Beth Blackmore. I'm a health and empowerment coach, and my journey into this whole health and wellness world started actually 6 years ago with my own health journey when I became conscious and I started making some big changes in my life with my food choices, my lifestyle habits. I ended up losing 60 pounds, and I thought that was a big win. But honestly, that was just the beginning. This was really the beginning of my conscious awakening. I ended up leaving my HR career in government, pension and all, because I wanted more freedom, more purpose, and really a way to help people take charge of their health. And as someone who is curious and open minded, I love learning. And over the past year, I started to acknowledge and appreciate the power of light, sunlight, our circadian rhythm, basically, how our environment, especially our light environment, plays a massive role in our health and well being. And so when my dear friend Diane reached out to me more than once, I will say, about this patch, I finally took a closer look and I was honestly blown away because I thought it was too good to be true. But I signed up and I did what any good daughter would do. I patched my mom. She had been experiencing knee pain for years, and within a few days, she noticed relief. Her physiotherapist that she was seeing 3 times a week noticed more mobility, less inflammation, and she wondered what she was doing differently. And the only thing that had changed was this light patch, this sticker that her daughter put on her. But it didn't stop there. She started sleeping better. She had more energy. She got back to the things that she loves doing, like walking and gardening and swimming. And for me, the first thing that I noticed, I was finally able to sleep through the night, having vivid dreams, which is unheard of for me. I used to have this lower back and compression pain issue that I had dealt with for years, going on and off to the chiropractor. That is no longer there within a week of patching. I no longer experience this lower back pain. My energy, my mental clarity have improved, which is helping me to keep up with everything on my plate. But what honestly lights me up is that I know that the best is yet to come. My body is healing and repairing and age reversing. There's also an incredibly exciting financial opportunity with the trajectory of this company. So, more on that a little bit later. But tonight, before I start the formal part of this presentation, we're actually going to hear some powerful testimonials, starting with my dear friend Diane. So, Diane, I would love if you could introduce yourself and share your inspiring story.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Beth. Hello, everybody. My name is Diane Hunt. I live in the US. I live in a state called Utah. I know we have a lot of Canadians on here. And like Beth said, yes, I was a critical care cardiac nurse for 20 years. And so I really loved that in the beginning, but then I was getting frustrated with the system. Another pill, another surgery, right? And so probably halfway through those 20 years, I really started digging into natural holistic healing. And so now, fast forward, I have been introduced to this amazing technology. And when I say miracles, I don't say that lightly because remember, I lived in New York City 20 years as a critical care cardiac nurse. So I saw it all. I was exposed to it all. And I have never seen miracles like this in the hospital setting. So what we have our hands on is nothing short of a miracle. And I'm going to just share with you why I feel that way. So probably about 3 years ago, I was praying probably multiple times a day because I was dealing with some long haul COVID, if anybody could relate. Lungs not feeling like they used to before the COVID came. Heart was having palpitations. I wasn't able to take in deep breaths. I was also dealing with mental brain fog. And that was just really the things that I was focused on healing. So I was introduced to this by a nurse in Florida. My prayers were answered. And she told me about this. She's like, I know you're into all the natural stuff. She, like I did for Beth, she had to reach out to me like 8 times, not because I wasn't interested, but you know, when you're a mom and you have kids and just life is happening and I have aging parents, I wasn't the priority, right? But then I was watching my dad also go downhill quick. He had plantar fasciitis, gout, sciatic pain. And so when I was watching him 8 out of 10 was his pain every day. I was like, you know what? We're buying these patches. I saw that it helped with inflammation. It helps improve the quality of the heart, reverses that heart's age. And then the other thing was helps with inflammation, which I knew both of me and my dad were dealing with, plus my mom. So I got the big package. And when I say strap in, because like for me it was one of those things I didn't know what to expect. I just prayed that it would help. I was lucky within 24 hours, which is not everybody's time frame, and I'll tell you in a second. 24 hours, I no longer had another episode where I was short of breath. I was able to take those deep breaths. I was able to exercise again. And then also, I was not dealing with any more palpitations. I never had another palpitation. And to me, that was amazing because I was doing all the things for probably like 6 months to truly get my body back into balance, but nothing was working until the patches. Then my dad, I put these patches on everybody, my family, my husband, my kids, my parents. My dad's took 4 months. So keep that in mind. But let me tell you, do not stop before the miracles happen because my dad, he stayed consistent on 4 months. The man couldn't even get out of a seated position. Like I said, he was dealing with so much inflammation, so much pain, a boot, a cane. And after 4 months on the patches, one day he woke up and he was like, Diane, I no longer have pain. And so I ask you, how long would you wait to have 20 years of your life back? That is what my dad feels like. He has 20 years back on his life. The man is at the gym 6 days a week. He plays with me racquetball during the week and beats me. We usually play a round of 3 games, and usually he'll beat me all 3 games. And my mom, I just want to touch on her because she just had her 80th birthday. And so the power of this, I just want everybody to keep in mind, it's cumulative, right? We don't put the patch on and all of a sudden the light go on and all our stem cells are back on. No, right? It takes time to get to where we are at this stage in the game. Well, the same is true when you start wearing the patch. It takes time. So my mom, 2 years she's been wearing it, and she was seeing a chiropractor every 2 weeks. She had hip and neck pain. The woman just was starting to go down mentally decline. She just got back from Croatia, traveled alone. I would never have let her do that 2.5 years ago before the patch. Now she's traveling alone. They just booked their trip to Switzerland. For 2.5 weeks, they're going to go travel and hike in Switzerland. Like, this is 80-year-olds. This is what I'm saying. This is how I want to live life. And that's why I know Beth is so passionate. Many on the call are so passionate about it because it truly is age reversal. So I could talk for probably another 30 minutes, but I'll pass the mic back to you, Beth, because I am so passionate about what this is doing for people's, not only their health, their life, and yes, like Beth said, also wealth. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Diane. And thank you so much for reaching out to me and having patience with me when I didn't know what I didn't know. So I
Okay.
appreciate all
We
the
don't.
follow-ups. Yeah, we don't know exactly. Amazing. Thank you, Diane. And I know that we're going to be asking you some questions a little bit later on, and you've got some powerful stories and testimonials that you're able to share too. But I would love to call on Rebecca. I saw you come on the call. If you're able to unmute yourself and share your story tonight.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm Rebecca. I too am a nurse, and I Rachel got me on the second try, so I was a little easier to get than you two. But I've been patching for 8 months now, and like Diane, I could sit here and tell you all the life-changing things that have happened for me and my family, but I've bullet pointed the ones that are kind of very pertinent. So I've had TMJ for probably 30, 35 years. And it used to get so painful and embarrassing, very loud popping sound if I'd eat steak or French bread, and I would kind of surreptitiously hold my jaw. Within 3 months of the X39, that just went. And I don't know when it went. It was just one day I was eating and there was just no pain. Then I have osteoarthritis in my neck. I have very little cartilage, so it's like bone on bone. Um, that's just gone. That pain has gone. And again, I'm not quite sure when that was, but it was all around about the 3 month mark. And then I have probably early onset or some kind of symptoms similar to Raynaud's disease, where it's an autoimmune disease. You get cold hands. Sometimes your lips go a little blue, and it's a circulation sort of autoimmune. I've never been to a doctor. There's no test specifically for it. But even in Florida in the summer, my feet would always be really cold, especially when you're driving around in your flip-flops and you've got the AC on. I'd have like little fluffy socks in my car. I haven't had to do that this year. So I don't know when that changed, but I don't have those issues and my lips don't go blue anymore. So that's always a good sign. And then my husband stopped snoring within a month, which was great because I was literally thinking about putting him in a different bedroom. So that was huge for us. And then I think on about the second month, he stopped waking up in the night to go to the bathroom, which, happens to a lot of men as they get older. That's all completely gone. So for us in our family, and allergies as well, my husband's allergies, this is the first year in about 30 years that he hasn't had seasonal allergies. And the only thing different is the X39. So, big changes for us in our family, but just like you and Diane, what excites me the most about these patches is the freedom it gives me. I was a nurse in Western medicine for 20 years. I've been in the holistic functional medicine for about 6 years. And functional medicine's okay, but it's kind of just swapping pharmaceuticals for supplements. And I didn't really want to do that either. And that what this patch is doing for me is giving me a freedom from all that. I don't want to be part of the Western medicine. Sure, I don't want to be a patient there. And I also don't want to have to take hundreds of supplements. And since I've been patching, I don't take all those supplements anymore. So huge things. So, not just the financial aspects, the freedom there, the freedom for health. And like Diane said, we've got a lot to do. I want to live into my hundreds. I don't want to grow old gracefully. I've got stuff to do. So, I'm like, I'm just long may it continue. So yeah, this is very exciting. I've never seen anything like it. I was a cancer nurse for a long, long time. And obviously we give a lot of toxic drugs in that realm. And this is incredible. I've never seen it. I've never seen results like it. So very exciting.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing tonight. And that's why it's important that we give everyone health trackers when they start, because you want people to have a glimpse of their state of health, because it may not be overnight, but it may be weeks and months where things are starting to alleviate, and all of a sudden you don't have them anymore, but you may have forgotten what you had to begin with, because it could happen over time. And so that's why it's important to have that health tracker and track your progress. But thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing tonight. I appreciate it. Patty, I see you on the screen. I would love for you to unmute. Is it a good time for you?
Yes, thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Great.
So thank you so much for having me. Oh my gosh, this patch, I had no idea how amazingly, like, how this changed my life and my husband's life, especially my husband, because my husband 2.5 years ago, a year and a half ago, about 2 years ago, he started having pulmonary sarcoidosis, which is an autoimmune disease that attacks your lungs. And the doctors got him on all this medicine. A lot of it was chemo pills and a whole bunch of other pills. Nothing was working. And so when Diane called me, he was already on medicine for 6 months and nothing was working. It was getting worse, if not better. Actually, he had to stop working right before Diane called me to tell me about the patches. She called to check in on me and I told her what was going on. She's like, "You've got to try these patches, Patty, because they're going to probably help him." And I mean, I didn't know it was going to cure him, but I just said, "Listen, we'll try anything," because the medicine certainly isn't working. And within 3 weeks of the patches, my husband was able to breathe for the first time. And he was like, "Patty," and he didn't believe it. So if you don't believe these patches are going to work, it doesn't matter. Because he didn't believe they were going to work. And I'll be honest, I didn't know if it was, I was hopeful, but I didn't really know what to make of him. But it actually, within 3 weeks, it cured him, because after 3 weeks, he was able to breathe and go back to work. But then he stopped taking the medicines. And then 6 months later, we had to wait 6 months to see the best of the best of the best doctors in Tampa, because he was going to a specialist, but it was a local specialist. So we finally got an appointment with the best of the best for pulmonary sarcoidosis. By the time we saw him which was 6 months or 7 months into the patches, he was all better. He actually, they scanned his lungs and did all these, tests, and literally no sign of the autoimmune disease, which is a miracle. And then for me, I started wearing the patches. I didn't expect anything from it because I didn't have anything life threatening, but I did have a shoulder that was it was so painful in the morning that I would have to take 4 Advils every morning. Well, 2 weeks into wearing the patches, I woke up and I went, oh my God, I don't have any pain. So that's the first thing that happened for me. So here I am. I had a fatty liver for 25 years, 20 to 25 years. Never expected anything to change on that because, no matter what I ate, whether I ate good or I didn't eat well, I always had a fatty liver. Well, 6 months into this patches, I went for my blood work, and my doctor sits down with me and says, wait a second, you don't have a fatty liver anymore. And I was like, what? I'm like, I've had a fatty liver for at least 20 or more years. And she goes, well, I've never seen anything like this. And I said, and then she said, another thing that's really strange about your blood is that you have no inflammation in your blood. I've never seen that before. And again, I didn't have the pains and that's what these patches do. They take away all your inflammation, whether it's in your brain, which of course I noticed no more brain fog right away. I noticed sleeping better right away within the first week or two. But the longer I wear these patches, my gosh, I mean, I have no more inflammation. I can do things that I could never do before. I'm like a younger Patty now, which is wonderful. So, and also the biggest thing also, not just, no fatty liver, no inflammation, no more pain. On top of all that, I was on antidepressants for 25 years, and my therapist got on the patches because he had heard how great they were. And he's like, listen, do you want me to wean you off your antidepressants? And I said, oh, I don't know about that. Well, I've been off my antidepressants for 8 months at least, maybe 9. And and I was on 2 antidepressants for 25 years. No more. And no more depression. And that's a real thing because other people are telling me the same thing, that they don't experience any more depression. And I even had depression when I took antidepressants. And I noticed that the patches, no more depression. So
Love it.
I can't,
That is
I can,
incredible, Patty.
it's amazing.
It is amazing. Like check all these things on
Yep.
your list that you weren't even necessarily thinking of. I know that you were trying to help your husband, but then I mean, so many things that you've been able to improve with your health and your mental health. And I know those stories are the best. When I've shared this patch with people before because they had knee pain, and the first thing they noticed within a couple of weeks was the anxiety and depression lifting. They didn't even realize kind of the state they were in. Anyway, amazing share tonight. Thank you so much, Patty, for sharing. All right, now I'd love to call on Nancy Ramondo. If you are on the call, I think I saw you come in. If you're able to unmute and share.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, great. Yes.
All right, well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. My name is Nancy Raimondo, and I am from Scarsdale, New York. And my journey with these patches is amazing too. When my friend introduced me to them, it was about reverse aging. And she approached me kind of on a vanity level, saying that I know you don't like to do Botox or filler or anything, but you want to always look your best and have the best skin. And she sold me right there and then on it. So, but little did I know what was going to happen. About a month into wearing the patch, I started to realize I did not have any more sciatica pain. And let me tell you, I lived with that pain for 40 years. I was in a car accident about 40 years ago, and I had terrible sciatica going down my feet around to my foot. And at night, it was just torturous. I would put all kinds of ointments on, be taking Advil, go to the chiropractor 3 times a week. And one day I just woke up and I was like, could this be possible? And I called her and I asked her and I said, I don't know. This is amazing. And it just started to get better and better. So I didn't get that instant facelift that I thought I was going to have, but I'm a two-time ovarian cancer survivor, and I've always been into health since then. I was diagnosed on my 40th birthday. That was over 30 years ago. It's actually 31 years ago. Lost my right kidney during the second bout. So I was always on, no medications, eating healthy, exercising, and all of that. And because I was on so much chemo, I had very poor circulation. I would get numbness in my feet once in a while. That disappeared. I had 30 years of gut problems because of all the medications I was on during that time. That completely disappeared. I always had bleeding gums. That disappeared. Terrible sinus infections. Sinuses are great. I have 5 grandchildren. They were sick all winter long with the flu, and I took them to the doctor with walking pneumonia. Praise the Lord. I stayed healthy. Um, my dry eye completely went away. My allergies, no more allergy pills. My hair, the gray is going away. I also am sleeping. I was an insomniac. I'm sleeping through the night, not having to get up to go to the bathroom. I can sleep 8 hours without having to get up and use the bathroom. I'm also, besides a grandmother, I'm a dog mom, and she is my rescue dog, but she rescued me, and we are best friends. She's 13 and a half, and a couple of years ago, she wasn't able to jump up on the couch or on the bed, so I started patching her with my used patches, and within days, she was jumping up on the couch and the bed and acting so playful. But last summer, I had taken her for her checkup, and the vet did some geriatric blood work on, and she told me she had first stage kidney failure and wanted me to put her on prescription drugs. And I said, no, I think I'm going to do something else. And so she said, all right, bring her back in 6 months and we'll retake it and see where it is. So at that point, I took the X39 and started putting it on her, a full patch, a new patch, every day for 3 weeks. And I took her back to the vet after not even 5 months, and she took the blood test. And the next day she called me and she said, these are her exact words. I'll never forget it. This is incredible. I have never seen blood work come back like this. I've never seen anything like this reverse. What are you doing? So I said to her, well, remember the little Band-Aid you thought I had on her tummy? That's a stem cell activation patch, and this is what cleared her up. And she was flabbergasted, and we're thrilled because Maddie is such a lovely companion and so friendly and happy, and I'm just so glad that I was able to help her. But I can't say enough about this technology, being a cancer survivor and seeing what this has done for so many people, not just myself, but sharing this. Please share this and shout it from the rooftops with everybody you know, because it just takes one person at a time that we can heal and make such a difference in their lives. So thank you for having me, and God bless everybody.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nancy, for sharing tonight. And so, we've just heard so many different testimonials, and you're going to find out why and how this patch works. So we're going to get into that right now. Thank you so much, Nancy, for sharing tonight. I'm going to share my screen. And if you can give me a big old thumbs up that you can see my screen. Oh, okay. I had to share. I wanted to share. This is Diane and her dear dad. She had shared this on Facebook a couple of months ago. So when we talked about, or she talked about how, he was going from, hard to get out of a chair to a place where now he is playing racquetball. So this was a picture of them playing, I think, 4 sets of racquetball, and he beat her 3 out of 4 games. With the sciatica gone, plantar fasciitis gone, gout gone. Anyway, this guy is 81 years old, right, Diane? Like, it's just incredible. So I just thought that was just a sweet picture I wanted to share. But moving on here, all right. So now that we've heard these life-changing testimonials and stories, I want to dive into how this patch supports your body. through the natural healing process with your body's own light. So, and I do want to say at the outset that LifeWave products, they're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. This patch is not a medical device that requires FDA approval. It's actually FDA recognized as a general wellness product. All right, so did you know? Okay, this is super fascinating. And I certainly didn't know this 15 months ago when I was introduced to it, that as we age, we lose healthy stem cells. And this is the healing and the repair mechanism that our bodies rely on. So our stem cells actually go dormant. So by the age of 30, healthy stem cells decrease by 60%. By 60 years old, those healthy stem cells decrease by 90%. And unfortunately, not only is this natural aging process contributing to our decline in health, but unfortunately, this world that we live in, this modern age of convenience and consumerism, we are inundated with toxins and chemicals in the air, in the water, in the food, in the man-made synthetic radiation that's everywhere. All of this leads to cellular dysfunction, and our bodies require healthy active stem cells to heal and repair the body. Stem cells are the undifferentiated cells that turn into any cell that's needed throughout our body. So they become your heart cells, your lung cells, your liver cells, even your brain cells. And who doesn't need more brain cells in this day and age, right? And sure, we know that there is stem cell therapy, but where did the stem cells come from? What's at the end of that needle? Stem cell therapy is expensive. It's not readily available. It's not accessible, it's invasive, and it's risky. And it's actually I heard a stat today, it's actually only about 30% effective. And they only stay local to the injection site. And so then it's repeated injections, right? Over and over again, upwards of 25,000 a shot. So this is why regenerating your own stem cells is exciting and why this phototherapy patch is such a powerful option. So you may not have heard about phototherapy before, but it's nothing new. And it actually is something that all living beings depend on. The sun is nature's original phototherapy, signaling our bodies to make essential vitamin D, signaling other vital processes in the body. But photobiomodulation is a type of light therapy, phototherapy that uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cells that boost energy production, promotes healing, reduces inflammation, it improves blood flow, and it helps with tissue repair. And what is so exciting is that this is accessible. It's non-invasive, it's affordable, and risk-free. And so what if I told you that these little light patches use this specific type of light therapy, this photobiomodulation, to increase a naturally occurring copper peptide? That's exactly what this X39 patch does. So through this process of photobiomodulation, it increases the production of our own human GHKCU copper peptide. And this is known as the holy grail of age reversal. And this is not synthetic peptides. You're not injecting them. These are not exogenous. You're making them on your own. It's naturally occurring. And just like with stem cells, they decrease with age. So this unique copper peptide was actually isolated back in the 70s, in 1973 by Dr. Lauren Picard. He's a PhD and researcher, and so there is 50 years of research to back it up. You can research for yourself and find all kinds of studies on pubmed.gov, which is this online repository of scientific research. But some of the incredible benefits of GHKCU that we know of, it supports tissue repair and regeneration. It boosts collagen and elastin production. It has multiple anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, anti-pain, and even anti-cancer properties. GHKCU is also known to reset over 4,000 genes in our genome. So basically resetting DNA to a younger, healthier state. But here's the clincher. GHKCU reactivates our own dormant stem cells, and it does this through the power of this patch. So LifeWave X39 is a small wearable phototherapy patch about the size of a quarter. You can see it here on my wrist. It is a patented product that uses this process of photobiomodulation. So using your body's own infrared heat. We are all light beings. We all emit a low-level infrared light. We are all warm to the touch. We can see the heat coming off those night vision goggles, right, in the movies. There is nothing on this patch going into your skin. Nothing is going into your body. It actually acts like a mirror, reflecting specific light frequencies back into the body, signaling biological changes at the cellular level. So this patch only consists of organic materials, amino acids, sugar, water, oxygen, and salt that form this crystal lattice structure that reflect these wavelengths of light. So the patches are non-transdermal, they are latex-free, they don't contain any drugs or chemicals or stimulants, so they're safe to use without interfering with any medications. And so there are no contraindications because nothing is being absorbed into your skin. And here's where it gets exciting, what it can do for you, for your loved ones. So number one, it reduces pain and inflammation. And why this is so important is because we know that a fundamental common thread in all chronic diseases is inflammation. It improves strength, stamina, and energy levels, and it actually does this by specifically targeting the mitochondria in the cell to help make more energy in those cells. And this is why a lot of people experience this energy boost that comes from that. Right off the bat. It improves muscle and bone density. So strengthening, building lean, strong muscles and bones. We know that Olympians, professional athletes are using this to gain an competitive edge, but it's great for anyone really wanting to level up their physical game. It helps with mental clarity. It reduces stress. I've definitely noticed this with myself, with less brain fog, more mental clarity, not forgetting things. It balances hormones, eases anxiety, also cycle regulation for women. And a lot of my friends have reported this sense of calm and like a weight has been lifted off their shoulders. It improves hair growth, skin appearance with increase in collagen and elastin production. So both men and women are reporting new hair growth, returning back to their natural hair color even. It helps with wound healing and scars. We know that surgeons are recommending these patches before and after surgery for faster healing. It improves sleep, with many people reporting deeper sleep, having vivid dreams. This is one of the most common benefits that people have right off the bat. This has also been a huge benefit for me, for my mom. And it works systemically, right? So 2100% increase in stem cell proliferation rate. And we are talking all over the body. So when you're thinking about all of these powerful testimonials tonight, it's not just targeting one area. You are supporting your body do what it does best, which is heal. Now, if we look at the long-term benefits, so within the first couple of days, your body actually starts to reset over 4,000 genes. So whether you feel this or not, and that is no small feat because we actually only have around 20,000 genes in our genome. So resetting 4,000 is significant. Some of you may have heard the benefits of red wine with that molecule that it contains called resveratrol that resets two genes. And we're talking about resetting 4,000 genes with this patch to a younger, healthier state. Then within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced. That's where we see more mental clarity, less brain fog, more focus, better memory, people reporting less anxiety, less depression, people coming off their anxiety meds like our dear friend, and antidepressants like Patty. What a gift, right? With so many suffering from mental health issues in our world. Within 3 months, collagen increases. Often people think about collagen as having to do with aesthetics and skin appearance, but collagen is actually the most abundant protein in the body. It's needed all throughout our vascular system, our blood vessels, all of our fascia, which supports our organs. Collagen is the master protein in our body, and we can create it with this patch. Again, it's not having to take a supplement or taking anything exogenously. It's increasing the production of our own collagen. Within 6 months, the heart actually reverses in age by 8 years. Many testimonials about people no longer in AFib, no longer requiring surgery, coming off their blood pressure meds. Diane, I know with her experience in the cardiac surgical suite, I know that she can talk to the many powerful stories that she has seen with heart functioning. Okay, so how do you wear it? Super simple to wear the patch. It's adhesive with medical grade tape, so you stick it on the body. What I love about it is that it's activated by your own heat. So you can even put it in a pocket or stick it to your undergarments and it's going to be effective. There is this 4 to 6 inch distance where your body heat is going to activate the patches. And that's why we really want to be careful when we're transporting them in your pocket or in your purse, because they will activate. So if anyone that's, might be freaked out or even have some kind of allergy to the medical grade tape, they don't have to stick it on the skin. I usually wear it on my wrist if I'm wanting to advertise it, but you can really stick it anywhere on the body. You have pain, put it on the pain site. You wear it for 12 hours during the day. You take it off at night. It's disposable. You have a little life left in it. You can put it on your dog, just like Nancy had mentioned. Put it on your pet's collar. They get the benefit of the rest of the patch. You put a new one on the next day. So you want to make sure that there's a break from the stimulation of light. Otherwise, the body just gets used to it. It gets used to, that light signal, and it's not as effective. And we call that attenuation. So the light energy in our body actually works off of the water network in our body. So it's super important to keep hydrated. Drink water and electrolytes. So a good quality sea salt, unrefined salt, because that is what has all the minerals, the electrolytes in it. Those minerals are actually what help to pull the water into the cells and actually hydrate the inside of the cells, which is how we keep hydrated. And because this is working through a copper peptide, it's important that we have available copper in the body. So great sources of copper without supplementation. I mean, I prefer, I think, a food source copper. Well, organ meats, I mean, everybody's favorite, right? Beef liver, but also oysters, shellfish are excellent, avocados, nuts, cashews, sunflower seeds, even just a little piece of dark chocolate, but it has to be the bitter stuff. It has to be the 90%. That actually gives you enough copper for the day, just a small square of dark chocolate. Okay, so what to expect? I definitely encourage you to take note of your current state and specific issues. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. So even taking pictures of your skin, your hair, your scars, your veins, write out your wish list, track your progress. We provide a health tracker to new users to track your progress. And it's really important to remember that every body is different. So everyone has a different experience, a different state of health, a different toxic load. So you want to give it time. As Diane was mentioning, her father didn't see results until the 4-month mark. David Schmidt, actually the inventor, we're going to get to him in a minute, but he recommends committing to it for a month for every decade you are old. But after 3 months, 97% of users experience a noticeable difference. So it's important to be patient and consistent. And although we might want these patches to do something specific, the body knows best, and it's extremely intelligent, and it's going to heal and repair and do whatever it needs to do in priority sequence. Sometimes your body will focus on areas you didn't expect. So you may have to actually, you may have started patching because you wanted to eliminate knee pain, just like my dear friend Roz. But what you actually might start feeling is less anxiety, more mental focus. And that was the experience that she had. And then it was her knee pain that went away. Also, healing takes energy. So if you're tired, listen to your body, rest and get that extra sleep, because that is when the repair and the healing actually takes place. You want to practice deep breathing, allow that oxygen to get in, allow that circulation to happen. That is always a good practice. And something to note is that you might actually feel unwell, and that could be likely toxins that are stirring up. You just need to clear them. And that's also where the deep breathing comes in, keeping hydrated, keeping those detox pathways open, because the X39 also increases the master antioxidant glutathione in your body by 30%. And so it also has this detoxing effect. All right, so I'm going to get into a couple before and after pictures. So here are some physical examples I can share with you so you can see the progression on the left-hand side, the hair growth. So this is over a 6-month period with the hair really filling in. As I said, many testimonials about natural hair color returning. We also have someone on the call whose son suffered from alopecia for 10 years and tried all the things, spent a lot of, invested a lot in different natural modalities and even, experimental medications, and nothing worked until he started patching. And within 6 days, his hair on his head started growing. We actually have before and after pictures of him. And then 2.5 months later, he has about an inch of hair on his head, and it just keeps growing, which is super exciting. Can you imagine after 10 years, alopecia? Okay, then the comparison shot on the right, this is astounding with the scoliosis. So scoliosis, the curvature of the spine, you can see this woman wearing the X39, but also the Ice Wave patches. So this is for pain. This is one of the ones David Schmidt created before the X39 to reduce pain, but this took place in only a 4-week period. So there are amazing testimonials of curvature of the spine, scoliosis, people recovering. All right, so here on the left-hand side, so this woman, had this skin condition called vitiligo. So this condition is where the skin becomes depigmented due to the lack of melanin. It's often related to an autoimmune disease. However, as you can see, it virtually disappears after this woman wore the X39 stem cell patch. Then on the right-hand side, so this remarkable difference, the before and after photos of this surgical wound, so healing after only 2 days. This is a knee replacement. And as I said, surgeons are recommending these patches pre and post surgery because of the faster healing. All right, so when we talk about brain health and coherence, that has come up a few times. This is an image of a functional EEG. So it's a brain scan of a 77-year-old woman. On the left-hand side, so this is session 1 before the use of the X39. The red in the image is showing this high inflammation of the brain and lack of brain coherence with the left and the right side talking to each other. Then after only 3 weeks, you can see session 2. No more red, no more inflammation. The dark blue is actually a low energy state, but the green is where you start to see some more coherence come in. And then week 6, this is the 3rd session where you can still see there's no inflammation, a lot more of that green coming in, indicative of the higher brain coherence. And again, this is only 6 weeks on the X39. All right, so now I would love to share with you who the genius is behind this incredible patch. David Schmidt is the CEO of this 20-year-old company, LifeWave. He actually holds over 200 patents now. I'm going to have to adjust the slide. But he started working with the US government. He was actually part of the Navy SEALs survival program, where he was creating something that could keep the SEALs alert, mentally focused on missions that lasted 36 hours. And that's where the first patch of LifeWave was born. That was his first patent. Then through David's network, he found himself at Stanford University, putting those original patches on the US Olympic swim team, and they ended up having tremendous success with it. They all set personal records. This was over 20 years ago. And this was actually before LifeWave came to be. Then in 2008, David realized that the future of medicine was in stem cells. And that's when he began to figure out a way to leverage the natural stem cells that exist inside the human body. So after 10 years of research, $4.5 million later, by 2020, he had received a 20-year patent on the X39. And so this company went from this steady state $20 million company to closing out 2024 over 600 million. So a 3,000% growth rate in 4 years. There is literally nothing else like it on the market. And so LifeWave has been recognized for this massive growth by DSN with the Bravo Growth Award, which honors companies with the highest year-over-year revenue growth on the Global 100 list, companies that are not only scaling their businesses, but setting new benchmarks for the entire industry. We've received the Bravo Growth Award for 2 years in a row now. And so, as I said, there is really nothing else. There's no competition out there in the market. This is a novel product. No one else has this, and there's no competition because the X39 holds this 20-year patent. There is a 22-page patent, but this one paragraph really says it all. Elevates copper peptides, activates stem cells, improvements in strength, stamina, pain relief. And so the patent is on this structure that I went over. So the material in the patch, where the patch reflects specific frequencies of light back into the body. There are clinical studies that show significant increase in the production of copper peptide, GHKCU, measured by blood samples, urine analysis, other lab analysis. And in order to get a patent, you have to prove that it works. So you can check out all the patents, the studies, the testimonials. There are great videos at thisisit.info.com. I highly suggest you go check it out. Great website with videos explaining the technology, David Schmidt being interviewed, doctors being interviewed, and powerful, powerful testimonials. Everything. There's a whole children's section with children that have had autism that are now becoming more verbal, more engaged. Grab a tissue when you watch those testimonials. It's super powerful. And then everything from lung function, neuropathy. Go check out that website, thisisit.info.com, and check out the powerful, powerful testimonials there. Okay, so what you've been introduced to tonight goes far beyond the surface, because it's not just about less pain or more energy. It's about what that healing is allowing you to do now. Because maybe it's the confidence that comes when your body is finally repairing at the root. Maybe it's being able to go back to a job that you once had to give up because of the pain you were in. Maybe it's getting your life back, thriving instead of just surviving. Or maybe it's hitting new physical goals in the gym, or finally leveling up your physical game. And for some, it's even financial freedom with the momentum of this company. So simply sharing with friends and family, you can offset the cost of your patches, make a car payment, or even create a life of abundance. This is the power of the patch. So let me show you how you can get started. LifeWave offers 3 options to enroll. So these prices are in US dollars. And for a month's worth of patches, we call it a sleeve. It's like an envelope. So you get 30 patches in a sleeve. So first you can enroll as a retail customer paying full pop retail price. We see practitioners in the States set themselves up like this, offering this to their patients. But of course, we promote getting you set up with the wholesale pricing of $99 US. So you have 2 options to set yourself up. You can sign up as a preferred customer, commit to a monthly subscription, or as a brand partner. So we typically recommend the brand partner option because not only can you take advantage of the wholesale pricing, but you also secure a spot on this incredible team and can leverage the momentum that this company is experiencing by building a business without additional cost or overhead. It is just the cost of your patches. And so what we often see is that people begin to experience success with the products. They naturally share them with others. They might become a walking billboard. And so they can then earn commission. And sometimes they end up building a full-time business. We have many people on our team that saw the opportunity right away, and we are building successful businesses. So signing up as a brand partner, there's no pressure to share or build a business, nor is there additional investment or commitment. You are just merely paying for the cost of your patches. And so there are several enrollment kits to get you started. You can see here with the 3 packages, the more you purchase upon signing up, the better the value. The cost of the sleeves come down considerably for this initial order. And then you can upgrade anytime throughout those enrollment kits, and you're just paying the difference and then receiving the difference in the number of patches. That way you can start sharing them with friends and family in your life, your aging parents, loan them out to people as they wait for their order. It's really fun to get people started on them as they wait for their order to come in. And, having extra sleeves on hand sets you up for success right out of the gate. So we do have a very attractive compensation plan for those interested in sharing the product. It is a binary compensation plan where you are building 2 teams, a left team and a right team. And to hit the first rank and open up the full comp plan, it's as easy as sharing with 4 people that you love, and you hit that first rank of manager. So it took me a couple of weeks to hit this rank when I first started. But just last month, I hit the second highest rank in the company, presidential director. And so in just 15 months with the company, I have been able to surpass the monthly income that I earned in my 23-year career in HR. And I am a newbie in direct sales. And so it goes to show that we do have an incredible leadership team that you too can leverage. This company is on this massive trajectory. Our team is the #1 team in the whole company. So it has incredible leadership and supports and training and systems in place to grow your business. No prior experience or training in sales or network marketing required, just a passion to help people with the freedom model: health freedom, financial freedom, and time freedom. But it all starts with your health. Without your health, nothing else matters. Health is foundational. So I want to thank you for coming on the call tonight, and I encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you on this call. They're going to guide you and set you up with the best pricing and package available for you. I would love to open it up for questions to those who are new to the call tonight. We want to keep the questions related to this presentation. But to kick it off, my closing question for you is, what if investing in your health gave you the greatest return of your life? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just take a quick peek if there were any questions in the chat. I mean, you can also throw the questions in the chat, but I encourage you to put your hand up, and we'd be pleased to answer any questions you might have. Okay, so I think that hopefully I answered the question about what's in the patches, how do they work? And then can these patches be mailed out of the country? Okay, so we are in 84 countries. And so each of those countries has a distribution center. And so you're not having to pay for duty. You are purchasing the package within the country, and then they ship out to you within your own country. Now, in terms of shipping out, like LifeWave takes very good care of handling the patches and shipping them out. So I would just be cautious of how you are transporting them and mailing them out, because as I said, you know, they can be activated with our infrared heat, with our infrared light, and so LifeWave does take great care in terms of shipping. But again, we're in 84 countries. So someone mentioned Kenya. So you're wanting to know if we're in Kenya. We can check for you in just a second if someone on the call could just check. Actually, I mean, anyone can check which country we're in. I don't know offhand, but when you go to lifewave.com, there is a flag up at the corner. It's going to recognize your home country. And then you can search through the countries that they deliver to, that they're in. But it doesn't look like Kenya. Yeah. Alina, thanks for checking. Okay, I think I saw Jerry. Yeah, if you'd like to unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, my mom has a pacemaker, and I'm wondering, does this have any interaction, say, with like devices that are implanted in the body? Like, does it reject it, or how would that work?
No, it's safe to use with pacemakers. My dad has a pacemaker and he's patching. Diane, I don't know if you want to add any more.
Yes, I actually have a few testimonies on pacemakers alone where actually the hospital or, the doctors and nurses that are following people with pacemakers have called to check in and say, listen, we're not seeing any activity on your pacemaker. Can you come in for a visit to see if maybe the battery's dying or dead? And what happens is the health of the heart has improved so much that the patient doesn't require the pacemaker to, adjust the rate of the heart. So usually you need a pacemaker because your heart is beating too low, right? So what they'll do is they'll put that pacemaker in and set it for a setting. But a lot of these people aren't even relying on a pacemaker anymore. Their heart returns to a strong, healthy heart where it's able to beat at a higher rate. So I have seen that happen quite often. And yes, as Beth said, there's nothing in the patch at all that would interfere with the pacemaker.
Roger.
Yes, thank you, Beth. I just have this question. I know I'm not a new attendee to the call, but a lot of people, or some people that I'm aware of, are using I call it the residue out of the patch. If a patch is like for 12 hours, and then there's an additional the next day, and an additional 6 hours left to the patch. Is there any kind of study that says, or any testimonies that say, well, that's okay, but then you'd have to put on two? Do you know what I mean? Like, or is it best just to go with one patch every day for 12 hours, then a new patch the next day for the 12 hours?
Yeah, so when David Schmidt did the studies, the greatest benefit that he found was 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Now, the patches, there's more life left in the patches. So sometimes people feel comfortable because they know that there's some life left in it, that they'll put it on a pet, put it on, maybe their child. And it's a personal preference whether they want to put it on right away because if it's not being activated by body heat, you could put it potentially on the nightstand, on your counter, and then put it on your child or the dog the next day because you might be giving them some energy and you don't want to do that overnight. And so they would benefit from probably the 6 to 8 hours that would be left on that patch the next day. So, but really, I mean, it starts to disintegrate within the 24-hour period. So it's not like an on-off switch where, okay, you take the patch off and, like after 2 hours, let's say, and you still have, 10 hours left 3 days from now. So the material does, disintegrate or becomes non-effective within a 24 to 48 hour period. So that's why, like Dr. Jen, who's an amazing wealth of information, she's written the patch manual. In here, it talks about how, you can put it on for 12 hours, take it off, put it on your pet, put it on someone else for the next 6 to 8 hours the next day, and they'll get the benefit of it. But for us, being like the more consistent you can be with 12 hours on, 12 hours off, that's where you're going to feel the benefits the most.
Awesome. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you. Jamie. Jamie, do you have a question? You have your hand up. You can unmute. Belinda, I'm going to go to you.
Hello, Beth. This is my friend Brenda, and she has a question.
Sure. Hi, Brenda.
I want to ask about the interaction of cancer drugs with this treatment, especially concerning the balancing of hormones. Would the cancer doctors be in favor of that?
Well, to be honest, most practitioners and doctors are not aware of phototherapy, let alone this phototherapy patch. So, and what has been recommended for cancer patients and those going through traditional cancer treatment is that they can continue on the patch on the days that they have treatment or chemo. They would not patch that particular day, but they could patch right up until their treatment day and then start patching the day after that. Because what it's doing is it's going to be counterintuitive where the patch is going to be helping to create healthier stem cells. Meanwhile, the chemo's coming in and killing everything off, right? So, but to go back to your question, I mean, practitioners, doctors aren't going to, recognize what this alternative phototherapy patch is. But there are testimonials of people that, have suffered with cancer and have had some powerful testimonials, or at least, reducing inflammation, reducing pain. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I had it come up with my cancer doctor about the balancing of hormones. And she insisted that she wanted my hormones low for another treatment that I was considering trying. So she was very skeptical. My cancer doctor was skeptical about trying something new like that.
With the phototherapy, you mean, with the patches? Yeah. I mean, what these phototherapy patches are going to do is help support the body to heal. So it's not even the patches. What this patch does is increase the production of GHKCU and then activate your stem cells. So then your body can heal and repair. So your body is always going to want to get into a state of balance, into a state of homeostasis. That's really the role of our miraculous body. And we are just supporting it with this phototherapy patch. Now, I would argue unfortunately, that a lot of the conventional medicine is counterintuitive to that healing process. So then it
Yeah.
becomes a personal choice, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions tonight? I don't see any in the chat. Okay, so
Beth, can you
Allison's
hear me?
question. I
I do
can
have a
hear you.
question. I have a
Okay,
question.
sure, Lorian.
Hang on a second. Can you see me? Hi.
Hi, yes, hi there.
This is great, information. Thank you very much for sharing. I just wanted to ask, I'm on month 3, and I noticed that I travel a lot. I'm always on the road working. I have like all over the province and into Alberta, but I was wondering, I keep them in my cooler. Say if I'm traveling, I'll have it in a cooler. Is it okay to keep them in the fridge like that? I keep them in a baggie because I got them off Rachel and she said, keep them in a baggie. Do not let them get wet.
Yeah.
Like, is the fridge okay?
Yeah, I don't even necessarily think it needs to be in a fridge. Like I
Okay.
think it's for so with the heat and exposure to direct sunlight, you know, when it's very, very hot out, you know, sitting in a mailbox for days, that's when, you know, we want to be concerned about exposure to heat. And not that they're necessarily going to activate, they just won't be effective, right? They won't be as effective because the material is likely going to break down, but they're not that sensitive without our body's own heat. So even going through, you know, whatever they have to go through at the airport is not going to activate them. Yes, obviously keeping them clean and dry and cool, but I don't even know if you necessarily need to put them in
In a
a
fridge?
cooler or freezer pack. No,
Okay.
no,
Okay,
no.
good. And it wouldn't wreck them though if I have them in the fridge, or less effective. That's what I was worried about.
I don't think so. Diane, I don't know if you have any words of
I would, if you don't have to put them in a fridge, I wouldn't, because I don't know about the condensation and stuff. I would just think, yeah, it's better to keep them dry, and yeah.
yeah. But Allison had a good question. What about shift workers, people who work inside a hospital from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and aren't outside? So you don't need external UV. You are the light source. You don't need to be in the sun. I mean, I love the sun. I think everyone needs the sun. Sun is life. But for these patches to work, they are working off of your own light source, your own heat. They do not have to be exposed to the sun. They can be, you know, hidden, you know, in your undergarments somewhere, was what I'm saying. So you don't have to be in the sunlight. The patches don't have to be in the sunlight. Now, you know, shift work, yeah, like in terms of your schedule, you'll want to kind of come up with some kind of schedule or routine in terms of when you wear the patches, right? Because it should be, you know, this 24-hour cycle where you wear it 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And so if you're doing shift work, that could interfere with your sleep schedule because the X39 is a daytime patch. Ideally, you want to wear it during the day, 12 hours on when you put it on in the morning. And I think the hardest part about this is remembering to put it on and take it off. I mean, if that's the hardest thing that we need to, you know, and then drinking the water with electrolytes to keep us hydrated. That's the most difficult thing that we have to get over with this patch. It's a new healthy habit. But then also, so this could factor into, you know, in terms of your personal schedule, you want to factor in, you know, is this going to affect your sleep if you're, you know, kind of mixing up your schedule with the shift work? So I would play around with that a little bit and obviously wear it during your waking hours for best results, because you also want to, like, it's not the sun and the UV that you need to worry about. It's actually hydrating yourself with that water network in the body, because that's how light works off of our water network in the body. We need to keep hydrated. That's another reason why this would be considered a daytime patch, because you are hydrating during the day. At night, you're detoxing. You are, when you wake up in the morning, you are dehydrated. And so wearing it during the day, you know, during waking hours for, you know, a shift worker is definitely important. All right, I don't see any more hands up, Jamie. I'm not sure if you're there, if you have a question. But as I said, this recording will be on my YouTube channel, Beth Blackmore. I want to thank you all. There are 41 people still on this call tonight, so I appreciate your time and being open to learning about this unconventional healing modality, but it is super exciting. I host these Wednesday night calls every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes I have amazing special guests like Diane, and I appreciate your time tonight, Diane, and sharing your amazing stories. But I appreciate you all for sharing as well your other testimonials and giving hope to people, right? In this time where I think this world is in need of a lot of hope and health and wealth. So I encourage you to reach back out to the person that invited you on the call, and I hope to see you on the team soon. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.